My name is Christopher Quinn, and in this video, I'm going to be going over how I passed my CCNA, what I did to prepare, and how you can pass your CCNA. A little bit of background about me: I have no previous IT experience, and I'm not currently working in the industry. I am pursuing a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity at Collin College. I'm currently a sophomore. I finished a Network Plus and A Plus course, and I've also passed the EC Council Certified Cybersecurity Technician. My motivation for taking the CCNA is that I really enjoy learning about computer networking. It's just a lot of fun to understand how the devices connect, and especially for cybersecurity, understanding networking as a fundamental is critical in my opinion. And rather than taking something like the Network Plus, I decided to take the CCNA, which has a lot more practical applications to it. Now I'm going to go over kind of like a timeline of how I prepared for the CCNA, what that whole journey looked like. I really started preparing for this test back in August of 2023. I took it in December, so about 4 months of preparation. I used the Cisco's Networking Academy. They have a series of CCNA courses. It goes 1, 2, and 3. I took all 3 of those, and I finished learning all the topics about late November. I was using the Networking Academy, my personal notes, official cert guide, Jeremy's IT lab, Packet Tracer a lot, the Boson practice test, Pearson test prep that comes with the cert guide, and some of my own resources that I'll get into here in a little bit. During the last month of preparation, I took the first Boson practice test. I think I took exam C, and I got like a 714 out of 1,000. And some of you may know that the passing score for the CCNA is generally around 825. So I was a little bit off the mark, but I felt really discouraged because of this. So after that, I went back to the drawing board and I made an Excel spreadsheet for reviewing all the questions I got wrong. I went over all the different topics and I went through the questions, wrote an explanation as to why I got it wrong and how to get it right the next time I get asked about that topic. I also started going over the official cert guide and use it more as a reference for things that I wasn't really too strong on, like IPv6 or VLANs. And then the last few days before the test, I spent only about an hour, 2 hours of studying, and then just relaxed and let my brain just kind of breathe for the rest of the day. The test itself was interesting. I had to do a lot of road mapping in my head to get to the right answer and kind of go around, what is it really asking here? Practicing with Packet Tracer really helped when doing the lab questions that I got. I finished all 3 of them, and I had a good amount of time left. I think I had about 25-30 minutes left. If you do struggle with exam time, running out of time on tests, I would recommend skipping the labs because they can definitely be a time sink if you're struggling with the practical aspect. This next section, I want to go over just some reflections of what worked for me and what I would do if I had to take it again from scratch. A few things that worked for me was when I was learning, I would write down notes, handwritten the first time. I went back to make flashcards, and then I would study those with a friend. I'm going to show you all my notebook here, and it is full of all kinds of info on the CCNA. I mean, this thing is all done. There's so much in there, and I'll talk about why I think that's a sort of a bad thing here in a second. But there's my notebook, and I also had these flashcards that I like to call super flashcards. They're just large index cards, and what I would do is take a topic subnet / CIDR here, and I would write everything I need to know on the back. So you could see I have all the different subnets, or another one right here like 802.3 Ethernet. I had like all the standards, the frame, and I would do this for every topic in here. It took a little while, but I went back and used my notebook. I would go to the official cert guide. I would go to Jeremy's IT lab, go to Boson. I would write down everything I could possibly need to know to be successful in the CCNA. And if I got something wrong on like the boson practice test, I would go back and add that in as a note on the flashcards, and just continually studying those really helped me. And also working with a partner uh, just helps you kind of solidify it even more. The boson practice tests were absolutely crucial to me passing the CCNA. The tests are amazing. They have explanations for why every wrong answer is the wrong answer, why the right answers are the right answers. They're really detailed. They leave no stone unturned. Um, as far as a comparison to the actual tests, they're pretty similar. I would say Boson does a really good job of simulating that kind of environment. I would recommend, though, don't try to take them all at once. A mistake I made was that I would take them a few days apart, and I kind of took them too early. I didn't save any of them because once you do take the test, your brain is going to subconsciously remember the answers to the questions, or what was the wrong answer at least. Especially with what I was doing with the Excel sheet and reviewing them, retaking those tests only helps you so much. Eventually, you're just going to start memorizing the answers. Another thing I would do is use the official cert guide as a reference rather than reading through the whole thing. I would do this just to fill knowledge gaps really, and then I would go back, like I said, with the flashcards, write in things I wasn't understanding, and then using Jeremy's IT lab was really good as well. Another thing that I did was I would lab every day. I would set up a packet tracer file, and thankfully the Cisco's Networking Academy comes with packet tracer activities, but I would also set up my own file where I would test out certain things that I was learning, test out access control lists, NAT, things like that. And I would recommend doing this, even if you can only do it for a few minutes during your study period. Just doing it, getting that practice in of typing on the command line, it's just really helps you. It really helps you understand the concepts a lot better as well. Now I'm going to get into some things that I wish I'd done differently if I was going to take this exam from scratch again. Something I'll do differently is just be more patient. Don't try to soak in a lot of info. What I would do is in one day I would try to learn like a couple major topics in one day. Like I tried to learn ACL and NAT within the span of like a few hours. And this only works so much because you're eventually going to miss some of the details and you're going to have to go back and relearn things, especially with configuration and topics that are so faceted like ACL and network address translation. Another thing I would have done differently is teach more people what I'm learning. It'd be really good if you can find a study partner or even someone who's not in networking or in the IT field. Just try to explain to them, concepts. Try to explain DHCP or access control lists. See what you can do, and again, that'll solidify the information and it exposes what you don't know very well. I wish I also would have taken more efficient notes. You guys saw the notebook. It is huge, and there's a lot of extraneous information in there that is just not necessary. It's just a lot of information. You got to kind of use the 80-20 rule when you're learning stuff. 80% of the information is going to come from 20% of the content. So don't write a book. That's what I did. I wrote 125 pages of CCNA notes that I probably only ended up using about half, if that, for actually learning the topics. Another thing I wish I would have done this is a little small thing, but print out the topic list when you start at the very beginning and track what you do know already, and then go through as you're learning things, as you're learning the new topics, see what you need to learn. What are you not understanding the best, and especially when you're reviewing, go back through where's my knowledge gaps. This just kind of helps you visualize where you are and what you really need to work on. If you are getting ready to take the CCNA if you're at the beginning of your journey or you're about to take it tomorrow. Just hype yourself up and have confidence because you can totally pass the certification. Even with no IT experience, you can pass the CCNA. These certification tests are designed so people can pass them. They're not designed so you just fail every time and you don't get it. This certification, in the IT community is kind of seen as a big monster. There's a floating statistic around there that 95% of people don't pass their CCNA the first try, but you absolutely can. Especially if you've taken either the Network Plus or computer networking courses, you already understand a good portion of the CCNA. Another kind of thing just out here is when you are getting ready, especially during like the last month to take this test, you kind of got to buckle down. One thing I did the last couple weeks is I not necessarily, shut down relationships and things, but just, stay focused. You're gonna have there's gonna be a few times when you're gonna have to, say no to either hanging out because you got to spend time getting ready for this. In addition, it's also make sure you're consuming content, especially on like things like YouTube, that's really positive. Don't get surrounded by a lot of negativity. I would definitely try and cut out, like things that are time wasters, like YouTube Shorts, video games. Just make sure you're staying focused and dedicating a lot of time to getting ready because you can absolutely do it, but you also want to make sure you're as prepared as possible. And really, I would say you want to make sure you're over prepared so that way when you get to the exam and you're sitting there, you're not surprised at all. I will say, though, as an aside here, you have to be hungry to pass the CCNA. And I don't mean this kind of hungry, I really mean what's in here kind of hungry, like motivated. Once you find that drive that pushes you to be successful at the CCNA, you can't be stopped. And that really goes for anything in the IT industry, whether it's you're going to be changing careers, you're jumping over from a different career entirely into IT, you're supporting your family to right out of school. Once you find that thing that drives you to be successful at the CCNA, you're absolutely going to pass it. That concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll be posting the links to the resources I use to study. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day.